Welcome to r/Am I the Jerk, where Karen demands OP cooks dinner for her. Karen demands I cook dinner for her. I need an outside opinion on this. My wife and I have 2 kids that are both in daycare. My wife will take the morning shift, which includes getting the kids up, getting breakfast, and to the daycare. I handle the night shift, which is getting the kids from daycare, doing dinner, and starting to get them ready for bed. Usually she gets home between 6:30 to 7, and the whole family has like 30 minutes together before the kids' bedtime. We usually spend time reading to them. She has to travel an hour plus, depends on traffic, to work each way. So the kids are getting at daycare at 8 in the morning, and I'll pick them up around 4. I work from home, and I start around 7 and end around 3:30 every day. The issue is around breakfast. We agreed that I would make dinner each night, and she does breakfast. She already makes food for the kids, so it's literally just making an extra one of whatever she's already making. For the past month, she will either not make it at all for me, not tell me that it's done. I have asked her just to give me a general time, but she keeps switching up the schedule. One day they're eating at 7 in the morning and then getting dressed. Other days she's giving them toast before getting into the car. I talked to her multiple times and explained that this is not considerate. We got into an argument and she told me that I'm home, so just make my own food. I explained I may be home, but I'm doing my job. Yesterday, she didn't make anything and I had enough. She came home and I didn't make her anything for dinner. When asked, I told her that she's home so she can make her own food. This started a huge argument and she called me a jerk. Edit. I have the kids more than her. She has them for an hour in the morning and I have them for 2 to 3 hours every night. Also, everyone's saying, don't know the stress of the morning shift. I've literally done it for 2 years. She's the one that wanted the morning shift because of her schedule. For everyone saying, have you asked her what's wrong? Yes, she doesn't give me an answer. I think the problem here is that in the morning there's a deadline. She has to get to work on time, and with an hour commute, there is some variability due to traffic. So her priority in the morning will be speed. At night, it's different because you won't get fired if you don't get the kids to bed on time. There's just less pressure there. Of course, we all want the kids in bed early, but it's not the same level of pressure as needing to keep one's job. The other factor is that you are thinking of the kids as consistent units of work. That's not the case. Kids in the morning can be very variable to manage. They don't really want to go to daycare or school, so they misbehave. So you can't just say, wake up at 7, make breakfast at 7:25, leave the house by 8, because the kids don't agree. One day you give them breakfast at 7:25 and you leave by 8. Another day, you give them breakfast at 7:25 and you're still chasing them around the house, trying to make them sit still and put their shoes on at 8. Again, it's different at night because if they don't put their pajamas on, all that happens is you have a little less time to hang out with your wife. It's also easier to get their pajamas on because they want you to read them a book, whereas they don't want to go to daycare or school. I think a different arrangement has to be made because if she has to get all the kids ready for daycare, cook for them, make it on time to the daycare, and get to work on time? I'm sorry, but make your own breakfast, dude. She has a long commute, and I'm sure a busy day at work. Everyone is busy, I know, but that's part of life with kids. She would have made more time, perhaps, to get you breakfast if you helped wrangle the kids. I don't think it's unreasonable for you to help more with breakfast if you don't leave the house. Your comment to her was childish. Your wife is doing a lot just by the sound of this post. Maybe ask her how you can help instead of becoming an extra kid. Not the jerk. She's grown just like you. If she gets hungry, she can make it herself. Yes, being in a relationship is teamwork, but that does not mean I keep doing for you while I'm left to fend for myself. That's not how it works. My parents wouldn't give me a family ring so I could propose to my girlfriend because my sister isn't married yet. Plus updates. My girlfriend's birthday is on Saturday, and I plan on proposing to her. Our anniversary is 6 months from Saturday, April 29th, and I think that would be a great day for a wedding. When my grandma passed, she left all kinds of jewelry to my mom. She always said if I wanted one of her rings to give to a woman in the future, she would let me pick. I know my mom knows she said this. I asked my mom for one of the rings, but my mom said not yet. She and my dad said my sister will be upset if I get engaged while she's still single and not married. It's not a secret that she's desperate to get married. But that's not my problem. My sister turned 29 in March and I turned 31 last month. My parents said she'll be upset if I get married a month after her 30th birthday. So I went out today and bought a ring. It was never about money because I can afford to buy one. I thought it would be special to give my girlfriend a family ring. I'm still proposing on Saturday despite my parents forbidding me to. I'm just upset that they asked me to hold off until my sister is married when she isn't even in a relationship. It ticks me off, but I don't want anything to spoil my girlfriend's birthday. For her 30th birthday, your parents can gift her therapy. I turned 30 back in August, never married. You know what happened? Nothing. The world doesn't end when you're still single at a certain age. That's so weird. It's not like you're 17. A month after she turns 30? Does she own every month? Just wait until you start having kids or something before her. I get being sensitive to her feelings, but this is way over the top. I mean, they could let her pick a ring first and set it aside for the future. It sucks that they're going to be more worried about her feelings than excited for you. Then they'll wonder why you always spend holidays at the in-laws. Update. I proposed on Saturday like I originally planned to. I proposed with the ring I bought after my parents denied me one of my grandmother's rings. I didn't do anything elaborate or public. I proposed over breakfast and she said yes. She called it the best birthday gift she's ever had. She had the same idea as me and had suggested we get married on April 29th, our 3rd anniversary, before I even brought it up. So that's what we're doing. We both agreed we don't want anything huge or expensive, so we're going to keep it small. It's 1:15 p.m. now, about 28 hours since I posted. When we announced the news, my sister was upset, just like I knew she would be, and my parents were mad I didn't listen to them. I'm 31 and don't rely on my parents for money. I told my parents and sister that if they're unhappy, they can skip the wedding. It would suck if I didn't have any family there, but I also don't want them to spoil this. I wasn't going to tell my fiance what went down, but I did once my sister started melting down, so she wouldn't be blindsided by any of it. She assured me she loves the ring and thinks my family is wrong. Her family had the exact opposite reaction as mine, and they're all happy for us. So that's it, all is well. Update 2. I went 18 months without speaking to my family, from a couple of weeks after I proposed until earlier this month. I guess my mom had a health scare, and even though she's fine, it got her and my dad worried enough to get back in touch with me a couple of weeks ago. My wife told me that she would support me in whatever I decided. I told my parents we can't go back to the way things were before, and I will not let them talk to my wife right now after the way they acted. My wife and I don't want kids, but if we did, I would keep my parents away from them too. They were surprised I got married without telling them. I said I'm an adult who doesn't need their permission. We're going to start with occasional emails for now and go from there. My parents said sister is still upset that I'm married and she's not. She has never apologized for the way she carried on or the way she spoke about my wife. I have no plans to resume contact with her, and I told my parents not to bring it up. Your sister is a nut job. Even if you lived in a culture where the older gets married before the younger, you are older than your sister, so that really wouldn't matter. I think your parents have enabled your sister's behavior, which has allowed her to continue acting this way and possibly getting worse. She's miserable and wants everyone else to be miserable too. And your parents should have put their foot down years ago. Maybe now, seeing that you're not going to stop living your life because they ask you, they will change. You getting married has nothing to do with your sister. She being single has nothing to do with you. Just go live your life and be happy. That's the best revenge anyway. My mom is saying that I'm going to ruin my marriage if I don't stop my husband from having an affair. I have a very strong opinion that if my significant other wants to cheat, I won't stop them. If they need to be stopped, they're not worth my love. I deeply believe I deserve someone who 100% willingly wants to be with me and wouldn't fall for temptation. Let's say it falls under my responsibility to try and stop them if I knew they're going to cheat, but what about if I didn't know? I'm married. We've been together for 4 years and married for 6 months. We just moved to a new apartment, and little by little we've been renovating it. We're both crafty and we want to create our dream home. We became friends with our neighbors, also a couple. The woman is very beautiful and bubbly, and I get along very well with her. She said she envied us renovating since her husband doesn't really like these things and refuses to give her money to start her own projects. She's a stay-at-home mom. I don't know about her situation with her husband, but the closer we got to them, the more I sense that he's very careful with money. So I get what she means, although I don't think he's financially mistreating her. Both my husband and I work. My husband works a lot from home. I've noticed that my neighbor is getting more and more friendly with my husband, instead of how it started as a friendship with me. She's very flirty, and she seems to have more and more in common with my husband, especially the things I don't really like hiking, but even the smallest things like food or sweets. She has so much in common with him, as she puts it. Since she's a stay-at-home mom, she started making my husband his favorite food, and my husband has said on many occasions how nice it is that she cooks, etc. Now twice I came home and she's in there with my husband, helping him with the renovations, or has just brought him lunch. My husband doesn't seem bothered at all, so it makes me think nothing is happening between them yet. I was telling this to my mom, and she got so angry at my indifference. She said that I should ban my neighbor from being around my husband and tell him not to talk to her again. I told her that I wanted a husband who doesn't want to cheat. There are 4 billion women out there, and I can't stop him from seeing all of them. He's the only one who can decide if his marriage is worth it. My mom called me deranged, and she's very upset with me. I don't know what to do. I have made my opinion clear to my husband that I didn't appreciate our neighbor hanging around with him, and I even started to cook more at home. Other than that, I don't plan on having a contest with women to win my husband. I always believe that if they can take him, they can have him. It may sound cold. I don't feel that at all. My heart is full of love for him, and I can't even imagine myself cheating on him, even if I was in a room full of handsome men. I just want the same in return. He hasn't done anything yet, but he has texted with her a few times. Nothing flirty, but they have texted. I hate it, but I don't know. My mom said I'm enabling this just to see if he cheats and then discard him, but all I wish is that he would choose me. Without him knowing that, I'm watching, and without me asking him to choose me. Update. I went home under my lunch break, and sure enough, my cute and bubbly neighbor was eating lunch with my husband in the kitchen. Some girls here suggested that I don't tell my husband next time I left work early. Well, I didn't want to wait for that to happen, so I accidentally, on purpose, left my gym bag at home. Asked my manager if I could have a couple of hours break around lunch, and sure enough, my neighbor was in my kitchen eating lunch with my husband. My husband looked nervous and guilty and said, "Yeah, we're having lunch here." They had the leftovers from yesterday's dinner, and they've ordered a pizza because we didn't have enough leftovers for 2. So she didn't even make him lunch this time. I just said that I was there to bring my gym bag and left. Now I'm sitting in my car shaking. My stomach and heart are aching. He has called 3 times, but I just couldn't answer. He texted me this: "My love, I know you don't like it when she's here, but you have nothing to worry about. I love you." Now I'm trying to calm my nerves before driving back to work. He knows that I don't like it when she's there, and yet the few times I've left work early, she's been there, which means she's probably always been there when he's working from home, which means even if he knows I hate it, he still does it. We've been married for 6 months. I know the first year is always hard, but I don't know. We're in our 30s, and we don't have kids yet. We only own our apartment together. Maybe this wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's better to call it a day now before there's more to lose. My mom will probably call me deranged again if I tell her how I'm feeling, but I'm very, very upset by this. She can keep him. Edit. I just got this text from my husband. I haven't answered his calls or texts. I need to calm down before talking to him. "Baby, you were right about our neighbor. I told her that she shouldn't be coming over anymore because my wife doesn't like it, and she said that she had feelings for me. You were right. I love you, and I don't want to lose you." I didn't answer him because what can I say to this? I need to go back to work now. I can't ruin my marriage and my work on the same day. Edit. Now I'm at my sister's, and I could just cry. I love him, but I can't do this. He's been calling and sending messages and screenshots all afternoon. I just answered him with this: "I love you, but I can't do this. I don't trust you with my heart anymore. I don't think we're compatible because our definition of love, respect, boundaries, and friendship is obviously very different. We probably need to call it a day before we're even more entangled and it gets more complicated. I need space to think. Please respect that I will talk to you when I'm ready to discuss our future." He just called 3 times, then he texted, "Please don't do this. I love you. You're the love of my life. Please don't throw everything away in a moment of anger. Be angry with me, but come home and be angry. Take it out on me. Fight me. If you only knew how much I love you and how nobody else in the world matters to me. Come home." I didn't answer because I don't know what to say. I'm going to bed. I just want to cry. I don't want him to call or text. Well, I'm convinced that he already knew the neighbor girl liked him romantically before her big reveal, and he simply enjoyed the attention. You can't trust this guy, and he has only himself to blame. Sorry you're dealing with this, OP. OP. He just sent me a screenshot from her. Apparently she texted him when she got home that she had feelings for him and wanted him and how he wouldn't regret it. She said she knows he has feelings for her too. He answered her that she was mistaken and that he never thought about her that way. He liked her and her husband as friends and neighbors, and that he loved me, blah blah blah. I guess this is damage control he's doing because he has never sent me any screenshots from his conversations with her before. Many people are asking me about her husband. I really don't know what to do about this situation. I don't really know him very well because he's pretty reclusive. Even when we hung out, the four of us, he didn't say much. They have 3 kids. I don't want to cause any pain for them, and I don't know how he would react. My reluctance comes from my gut feeling that maybe somebody could end up getting hurt. I'm so conflicted and scared, to be honest, so I have not been ignoring you who asked about the husband. I'm just scared. Update. I'm back home, and we're separating. It's Sunday morning and I'm back home. My husband is staying with his parents. Yesterday he showed up at my sister's, puppy-eyed and all, with takeout from my favorite restaurant, flowers, chocolate, and ice cream. Why do they always think food solves everything? He started apologizing and saying that he loved me and that he would never hurt me. I asked him to start being honest with me, if he had feelings for her, and if they've done anything. He swore nothing happened and that he doesn't have feelings towards her. I told him that he wasn't honest because why would he let her in my home knowing how much it would hurt me and cost him if he had no feelings for her? Why risk your marriage? He couldn't answer that. He just said that he didn't think it was bad since he was secure in his feelings and in our marriage. He then admitted that he liked the attention. So you knew before she admitted it that she liked you? Yes. He gave me his phone and all his texts and told me to look at how he never once flirted or made any advances. I don't know. I was very sad reading and hearing all this. I told him that they disrespected me. Her last text to him is that she loved him and she would make him happier than I ever could. There was also messages with mean things about me to him, and instead of confronting her, he ignored her or laughed at it. When I asked him about it, he apologized and said she was obviously jealous, so he didn't want to engage. I told him that I wanted separation because I don't trust him anymore. He begged me not to. Then he said that I should at least come back to my home and he would live with his parents. He also asked if I could promise him not to start divorce yet and just be separated for a while and go to couples counseling. He said that he messed up very badly and wants me to give him time to make it right again and not just divorce him yet. So I moved back home this morning and he was here. We had breakfast and he left for his parents. I didn't want him to kiss me. He will be coming home when he needs to work in the office and probably if we start therapy. On these days, I can be at my sister's. She was more than happy to help. Now I don't want to see him for a while. I hate my kitchen now. I'm sitting in my kitchen writing this, which is sad because we put so much effort into making it exactly what we wanted. He said he didn't enjoy the attention, just that he suspected and knew she probably liked him. He didn't think it was more than her feeling lonely in her marriage because her husband works all the time. He said he was never interested, so he thought that it was harmless because he knew he wasn't interested. I don't know why he liked the attention. He said she would come over with lunch and say she was bored home alone and that she loved renovations and wanted to see our progress, and he didn't want to be rude. She had made fun of my appearance, I'm not blonde, and my style, and he laughed at it. Most importantly, I asked him if it was all innocent, would you have told her husband she was spending all day with you? He didn't answer but stood silent because he knew that it was wrong. And I'm sorry, but if many people like attention, then they're not my type of people. If he thinks her opinion is flattering, he's not my type. He's not what I want to grow old with and have not blonde kids with, as she wrote in one of her texts making fun of our kids. You should invest in a front door camera. Definitely tell your husband because she was actively cheating on her husband with yours, whether emotionally or physically, and he should know what she's doing. He blocked her after the text or when he showed you the text. Do you believe he went to his parents? Have you asked them if it's true? Because why would she tell him that she loves him and could make him happier? What was he doing that made her feel to say that? If you're staying, make sure you get a postnuptial agreement to protect yourself. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my stepkid's private school? Context. I, 30 female, have been with my partner, 36 male, for 4 years and we have a 2-year-old together. I have 5-year-old twins, full-time custody as their dad passed, and he has 2 kids who are 7 and 12, and he has 50-50 custody of them. I was brought up in a pretty wealthy family where me and my siblings attended private school, and this was something that I valued and wanted any future kids of mine to attend also. My twins are now finishing their first year at school at the private school that I attended. I pay for their tuition, and my husband knew they would be going as I made it very clear that I valued this. He also agreed that it is a good investment and would want our kid to attend also, paying half each when the time comes. His kids do not attend a private school, but attend highly ranked public schools. Since the twins started school, his ex has been causing issues and saying it's unfair and showing favoritism that my kids attend a better school than theirs. My husband agreed and they applied for the same school. But when time came to accept the offer, baby mama changed her tune and could no longer afford to pay her half. Note that my husband pays alimony and child support totaling to almost 50% his wage, and we pay for most other miscellaneous expenses. My husband asked if I would pay for her half, and I said no. Ever since this happened, he has been distant and accuses me of not loving his kids enough and treating them differently. Yes, I could afford the other half, but I don't feel that that's my responsibility. I never asked my husband for any financial help towards the upbringing of my kids and wouldn't expect that of him. I felt confident in my decision to refuse, but his constant negativity, the comments from his ex, and judgment from his family for not paying are making me doubt myself. Am I the jerk here? I have offered to pay some of the fees. I offered for all of us to sit down and discuss finances and abilities to contribute. This was refused, and baby mama shut down and began refusing to pay any of the fees. The situation could have been avoided had discussions like these been had prior to application. I was not involved in, only informed of, the application, as they are not my kids, so it was none of my business. But it's now all my business when they want me to pay for the entire thing. Also, lots of comments assuming my contributions to the family are that I'm treating his kids poorly. I pay 80% of all finances. I pay for our holidays and day trips, all of which we arranged during our time with stepkids. I'm also the sole contributor to the college funds currently. I completely take on board comments about how the kids might feel, as ultimately, I think this is the most important thing. Conversations with them have ended and them expressing not wanting to move away from their friends, especially the 12-year-old, or being neutral either way. This is absolutely something baby mama pushed for and led, and had she been open from the start, I'm sure something could have been arranged. Wow, a lot of assumptions were made in your comments. Let's go through them. 1. My husband and I have agreed we will split the cost of tuition equitably. 2. The twins are receiving special treatment for going to a different school. Many blended families have kids who attend different schools. As stated, they go to highly ranked public schools and have friendships built, and they're comfortable and enjoy their schools. They really aren't fussy about wanting to move schools. It's just my husband and his baby mama who want them to move. This isn't a desire expressed by the kids, and had it been, I would have potentially felt different. 3. I don't value or care about my stepkids. Because I'm not paying $35,000 a year for them to move schools, baby mama is refusing to pay despite it being her who is adamant they go. She makes enough through her job, alimony, and child support to pay for her half. Would you accuse her of not valuing or caring about her kids because she's choosing not to spend that money on the school? 4. I can afford it and won't. Why? The money that could be spent on it is currently being put into savings accounts for all of the kids' college and future funds. Funds which I am the only parent to put money into. But again, I don't care about or value my stepkids. I also pay 80% of all household bills. I pay for our groceries and the majority of family holidays, day trips, etc. All of which are booked and arranged during my husband's custody time so the kids don't miss out. But of course, I treat them so different and I'm an evil stepmom. Husband contributes nothing to my twins and I'm the sole financial provider for them. As my post states, their father passed away and has point blank refused to pay for anything for them in the past as they are not his kids. I feel like I'm being villainized for not wanting to pay for 4 kids' educational expenses when baby mama and my husband both reached this agreement on paying for this without my input. I don't see how it has fallen completely on me now that they don't want to follow through. The comments talking about how poorly I apparently treat my stepkids are crazy. My husband has told me time and time again that my twins are not his, and he shouldn't be expected to love them the same as his kids. His words, not mine. My twins live with him 24/7 and he barely even interacts with them. I'm not allowed any input in the lives of his kids because I am not their mother, but I am good enough to cover their mother's responsibilities when it suits them. He set this precedent of his kids and my kids. Honestly, the comments calling me a jerk and accusing me of treating the kids differently have actually opened my eyes to how my twins are being treated by their stepdad. Right now, I feel like I'm failing them by putting them in a situation where they don't receive any love from their step-parent. I don't even mean financially, I mean emotionally. And neither my husband nor his ex are poor. They're both educated with good jobs. We all are. My husband wants no responsibility for my kids, but you expect me to assume total responsibility for his? But only when it comes to money. Because I'm not allowed to be a part of the other parenting decisions. Why? Update. After reading comments and doing some reflection, I initiated a conversation with him to discuss everything. I once again suggested decreasing child support and alimony and paying together, but I also brought up how unfair it feels that he and his ex have teamed up against me in the situation, and I don't feel that we have been behaving as a partnership. I brought up my grievances regarding feeling used and unappreciated, and how he treats my twins being unacceptable. I voiced my desire for us to have time apart and get into therapy, saying that I needed some space to think as I was unhappy with the effect this was having on the kids. I won't rehash the entire argument, but after talking about how I feel his relationship with his ex was inappropriate and crossed boundaries, I was made aware that he and his ex have hooked up multiple times during our relationship. I don't have much else to say. I feel completely numb. I've asked him to leave. The house is mine before I get comments, and I'm talking to a divorce lawyer. For those who asked, I do have a prenup, and we have only been married for just over a year. He swears that it was a mistake and he regrets it, that he loves me and wants to be with me. According to him, it just happened, and I should be more understanding that they have a history together and he didn't mean for it to happen. I won't be replying to any more comments or updating because there's nothing left to say. I need time and space to heal and to work on being the best mother I can be. I feel like a complete failure. I have a lot to figure out, especially as we have a baby together. He hasn't asked to see his daughter or stepkids since leaving, despite me reaching out to ask if he wants to see our daughter. Karen uses me for free babysitting, ends up regretting it. I, 23 female, used to be very close with my family. My siblings have kids, and I used to be a big part of their life. I'm always taking good care of them. On my free time, I never do anything for myself. I spend it always with them because I love them. I always go above and beyond for them. Not to mention, I spent lots of money on them. I'm the aunt that never said no. My siblings have more money than me, but all my money seems to go to their kids. Now, this is not my siblings' fault, it's just what I choose to do. I love them like my own, and I never felt like I was being used by my siblings to be a free babysitter because I truly enjoyed it from my heart. I don't have friends of my own. I considered my siblings to be my friends. However, a year ago, I had a terrible injury and I couldn't walk or use my hands for 6 months. I went from being the girl that helped everyone out to being unable to help myself. I couldn't walk to the bathroom, kitchen, anywhere. For the first months of my injury, I lost 30 pounds and I was severely skinny. I lost all that weight due to being unable to cook for myself. There were times I needed help, even using my spoon. I needed to be fed. No one helped me. There were times I literally cut my hair off because I no longer could take care of my long, thick hair. There were times I couldn't take showers. It was the most depressing time of my life. I went from dealing with my injury to dealing with all kinds of problems due to not taking care of myself, not eating properly, etc. Fast forward. After months of suffering and struggling, I was able to slowly heal. I was very mad at my family when I finally healed. I realized they used to call me every day before my injury because they could use me as a babysitter, but during my injury, they acted as if I didn't even exist. There were no phone calls, no checking up on me to see if I needed anything, nothing. I did have high expectations from them because we were very close family. I was there for them through anything, but I didn't receive the same love back. The other day, my sister called me to say her kids miss me and to come babysit them. I said no. That's the first time I've ever said no to her. Why is she calling me now that I'm recovered when she didn't even show up for me during the worst times of my life? She said it's because I never told them I needed help. Now they know exactly what I was going through. They knew I couldn't walk. They knew I couldn't use my hands. They saw me with their own eyes first day of my injury at the hospital, then completely disappeared on me. I feel I'm only good enough when I'm helping them, but when I'm unable to do anything, I'm unwanted. I'm going to be all alone, but I decided to cut my siblings out of my life permanently. I will no longer be watching their kids for them. I'll let them know this, and I've changed my number. They think it's evil to do this to your family. What do you guys think? Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Every relationship must be a two-way street. It sounds like your siblings only want you when they need you for something. I just feel terrible reading your post. You can still be a great aunt when you can and want to, but you don't have to say yes every time to be a great aunt. Am I the jerk for ruining a family dinner? I'm known in the family to be a control freak about preparing food. In fact, in my family, there are 2 dinners in the year that all members come for, 30 people. And before I took over, all dinners were extremely late. there were always problems with seasoning or poor preparation. I'm organized, and for every meal, I have a spreadsheet with everything I need to make a huge-scale dinner. At first, they didn't respect it, but after seeing that my method was useful, everyone joined in and allowed me to be the head of the organization. Since then, dinners are ready on time. Everyone praises and repeats the dish. Not very common. It takes 1 to 2 days to prepare the meal. I don't ask them to help because I know I'm serious with organization, but if the person wants to, I ask them to respect the process. Another fact, my mother was a cook for 1 year and my sister-in-law is studying gastronomy. The situation. Sunday was one of our yearly dinners and I was the head as usual. My sister-in-law, my mother, my aunt, and uncle would help me. This would be my sister-in-law's first family dinner and she offered to help. During the preparation, my mother started to do several things wrong, and every time I said something, she said something like, "Stay calm, a wrong thing will not lead to anything." The problem is that she did so much wrong, skipping so many necessary steps in the food that most things I had to redo or give a second look. She continued to help even though I said it wasn't necessary. I broke down when I just commented something about steps with my sister-in-law and she corrected me. I was going to comment, but my mother said, "I think you better cool off in the pool and let those with experience sort it out." I accepted, grabbed a glass of wine, the spreadsheet with me, and spent the whole day in the pool, ignoring when they asked me to come back. So dinner was late, poorly seasoned, undercooked, and no one had a second dish. My mother later said that I ruined dinner and humiliated our family in front of relatives in revenge. I shouldn't take that serious because it was a silly family joke. By the way, I love making these dinners, and yes, my mother and sister-in-law's behavior is common. Am I the jerk? Someone asked for examples of what she did wrong. She put too much salt on one of the meats and it was inedible. There had to be 10 of something for the food and she cut it in half because it was too much. It wasn't. She started to make rice very early and we used the pan first for other food and the rice is last because it's the biggest and heaviest pan. My spreadsheet basically has the amounts and how long each cooking ingredient goes. I point out when they can get the quantities wrong, too much or too little, or when they start making food that is for a long time before or after. Not the jerk. You did exactly what your mother suggested you should in her rude way. Good for you for having a nice day in the pool. The last person who gets to complain is her. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.